Hello again, Phantom fans, and welcome into another episode of Ghost Stories presented by our friends at Dunkin. I'm Voice of the Phantom's Matt Lipsack, reminding you that Ghost Stories is also available in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon, and many other popular podcatchers. So be sure to subscribe and leave a review for us today. Today on the show, we are joined by a NCAA Division I hockey player, or at least he was, from Mercyhurst University, former assistant coach of the Maryland Black Bears, and now the brand new assistant coach of the Youngstown Phantoms from Erie, Pennsylvania, Brandon Gotkin. Goots, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Matt. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, tell us about yourself, your family, your hockey career. Let's get to know Brandon.
Yeah, I'll give you the long story short. So I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. Grew up in a hockey-rich environment. My father's been the head coach at Mercyhurst the last, I think it's 34 years. So grew up, attending a lot of games and being in a lot of practices and stuff like that. So hockey's been a big part of not only mine but my family's life. I have my mother Diane and my sister Lindsay, who's an older sibling. Lindsay's currently in DC, oddly enough, so not too far from where I was in Maryland. So it was nice to have some close relatives. So I grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania. Went to school at Mercyhurst, which is in Erie, Pennsylvania as well. So I spent a lot of time in Erie, and then finally was able to break free from Erie 3 years ago when I applied to be the assistant coach down here in Maryland, and got my opportunity in my start in coaching. So Erie's home. It's still a special place to me, obviously, and love Erie. But so I grew up in Erie, played hockey, obviously, ever since I can remember, skating on the ice as much as I could, whether that be, after my dad's practices, or, when I grew up, me and my buddies would get on the ice late at night when everyone was done, or whatever it may be. So grew up, playing a bunch of hockey, and was able to play in Pittsburgh for the Pittsburgh Hornets a couple of years, and then played at my high school up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and then had the opportunity to play at Mercyhurst, and then got right into coaching, and have loved it ever since. So it's been a good, fun run the first 3 years, and I'm excited for my next step.
And can we get a shout out to your wife real quick? Don't want to leave her out.
Yeah. Thank you. Jeez. Yeah. So this summer I got married on June 26th. So it was a very short, but very eventful off season for me. With the season being pushed back with COVID and everything, and then us having a pretty good playoff run in Maryland, we kind of finished late April. And then I was able to come down to Youngstown's main camp like 4 days later. And then the week after I got married. So it was all happening at once. And then we went on a beautiful honeymoon and, spent a couple of weeks. And then obviously the opportunity kind of presented itself to apply in Youngstown. So it's been chaotic, and it was kind of unexpected, but it's been a lot of fun.
So at Mercyhurst, you were teammates with former Phantom Taylor Best. Any PG or PG-13 stories you're able to share with us? Let's keep it so the kids can tune in still.
Yeah, Taylor is a great kid. We talk, on and off again. Obviously he's still playing and signed in the SPHL. He's a great kid. Really a character. A ton of really, really funny stories that I might have to tell you at a later time. But
okay, all right, I like that.
I will never forget kind of like, the first day. Obviously he was a year behind me, so I was a sophomore, and kind of seeing like the freshmen walk into the room and getting to meet the guys for the first time. He was a character right off the get-go, and you knew that he was going to be a fun kind of special kid, and really hilarious. He's like a freak athlete, like skateboarding and doing all these crazy things, and really obviously a great hockey player, but good golfer, good basketball player, softball. He's hilarious.
Yeah, if you follow Bestie on Instagram, I think he's been working at helping out at a goalie school, and you see
Yeah.
him out there golfing all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
Loves
I
the
know
golf.
I was DMing him the other day and I said, "Hey, I got to get whatever plan you're on. I see you're golfing a bunch, so it's been good, but
Right?
he's a great kid."
So, you know, you've been what, two weeks now since you were announced as the Phantoms assistant coach. That sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I think
What
so.
what what can you tell us about the hiring process? How did you find out about it, and you just kind of take us through it step by step.
Yeah. So during the season, obviously coming on off my third year, I was kind of mapping out and seeing what my next kind of destination may be, and I started kind of just talking to some people that are in the game and kind of hearing what's available and what's out there, and obviously heard that Youngstown was having an opening, and I approached Jason Deskins and Ryan Kosecki about, I would love the opportunity to interview and kind of just put my name in there, and, went through the first interview, just kind of getting to know them, even though I know them pretty well, as well as Brad Patterson. So, had a really good conversation with those guys the first time, and talked about philosophy and kind of talked about what's the next step for Youngstown as an organization and where we kind of want to go. And it was obviously really exciting and really intriguing for me. And then, was lucky enough to get a second interview, and just broke down some more hockey specific stuff on my end. And, they were, gracious enough to give me that opportunity. And it was pretty smooth, to be honest. Those guys, obviously, I think, just knowing them and working with them in the past, it was a little bit, a familiar setting for me. So it felt obviously really good. And obviously being a part of Black Bear Sports Group with the Maryland Black Bears, it was kind of a natural fit.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you work with both Jason and Ryan down there in Maryland. What can you tell us about the work experience with the two of them down there? And you also mentioned your coaching philosophies. Tell us a little bit about what you're bringing to Youngstown, what you'd like to see out of the Phantoms.
Yeah. So our second year, we got the opportunity to work with Jason Deskins, and he was, our assistant GM and director of scouting. And wow, just he's a really impressive guy, super human and an incredible worker. I like to make fun of him and Ryan, and I guess all of us really. I call them hockey nerds. The passion that they have, the network that they have, and I believe their eyes that they have for identifying top talent is second to none. Really, really, I think top tier guys in the hockey world. Before I even got the opportunity to interview, I texted both of them when I heard the news, and I thought that was super exciting, and I thought that was a super big positive for Youngstown as an organization. These two guys are really detailed, and the cohesion that they have is spectacular. It's kind of like big brother, little brother. I won't tell you which one is which. You guys
Okay.
can make that distinction if you want. But awesome guys. Love working with them, and same thing with Ryan Kosecki. Came in last year for us and kind of picked up where Desi left off, and really smooth transition. And obviously Ryan's still working with the Black Bears and everything. Kind of expedited our process in Maryland sooner than probably we thought, just with their connections and their ability to identify top talent and kind of help facilitate deals with Clint Millimock down here. So it's been a pleasure, and I'm super excited. And that's definitely one thing that, obviously when I saw the opening in Youngstown, I was super intrigued and wanted to see just how, these two would be working together and trying to figure out, the player landscape in the USHL.
You mentioned your philosophies, how they seem to match up with Jason,
Yeah.
Ryan, and Brad. Can you give us a little bit of insight on that?
Yeah, for us, I think as an organization, just going down to the nitty gritty of it, like we want the best kids, best people that want to be in Youngstown. Obviously, we value character, and player development is super high for us. I think for me, as a young coach, that's something that I love. Is obviously I feel like I'm a pretty passionate kid, as you'll get to know me, and I want our players to have passion, and I want them to succeed on and off the ice. So that's super important for me. I love building relationships, and working with kids, like I said, on and off the ice, and obviously more towards the on ice stuff. We want to be a team that's a puck possession team, and a team that attacks with five. And obviously, I think that we're all on board with that. And gathering our game plans. We won't go too much into that yet, but it's been really it's been really great working with Brad and Andy on that front.
You are listening and watching Ghost Stories, the official Youngstown Phantoms podcast. I'm voice of the Phantoms, Matt Lipsack. I'm joined by brand new Phantoms assistant coach Brandon Gotkin. We are brought to you by Dunkin here on Ghost Stories. Remember, we are available on YouTube in a video format and available in podcast form on Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, and many other popular podcatchers out there. Like and subscribe today. Leave us a review. Certainly helps spread the message of the show. So, Brandon, past two seasons have been a little interesting from from a on the ice, off the ice standpoint. What was it like for you as an assistant coach trying to help keep a hockey club on the ice?
Yeah, it was really bizarre. Obviously, we've never been anything, through anything like this, and um, you know, we kind of had to write the playbook as we went. But obviously, really, really great support in Maryland with Murray Gunty and Andrew Goldman and Robin Remick, our team president, and everybody else that I failed to mention. But it was so many things that we just had to kind of monitor with daily checks. And obviously down here in Maryland, things were a little bit different with capacity, and we weren't able to use our locker room. So there was guys getting dressed outside, and there was so many obstacles and hoops that we had to jump through to kind of navigate a way to play. And, luckily we were able to get a full season in. The great support with the North American League and everything like that. So it was crazy. It was fun though. I was really proud of our group, obviously making a pretty good playoff run. But in a season like that, it was super chaotic and abnormal. Really proud of those guys and what we accomplished. So it was kind of weird. We were kind of joking as a staff that like the hockey side of it, when we were able to drop that puck on Friday or Saturday night, that was kind of the easy part. And you could kind of take a deep breath and enjoy that. But everything leading up to it was kind of chaotic, but we worked through it.
Big season for you guys down in Maryland. First playoff series win in franchise history. What can you tell us about the season that you just wrapped up for the Black Bears?
Yeah, it was awesome. We had our lows and our highs, like most good teams do, and really started playing well towards the end of the season. And we had what we felt like was a really good matchup with Johnstown in the first round, and they were a fantastic team and everything like that. And our guys were awesome. A lot of fun, kind of seeing the group pull together through adversity through the series and stuff like that. And showing up every night. And like I said, it was extremely long and taxing year to before the playoffs, and then obviously with the playoffs, it was even that more. So it was really sweet. And something that obviously will remember the rest of my life. And I learned a lot as a coach, going through that playoff run.
As an alumnus of Mercyhurst, you got to play against Robert Morris University in Atlantic hockey. Obviously, they're having some difficulties there with the hockey team. Hopefully, maybe going to be able to bring it back next year. Just any thoughts you have about what's going on in Moon Township right now?
Yeah. I'll be candid with you, really kind of shocked, super sad for the student athletes on the men's and women's side of it. Kids make a commitment, and they're dedicated to their school, and they're proud of their school at Robert Morris, and that the rug was pulled out from underneath them. So it's super sad. I really hope that they do the right thing and reinstate the program. I know they're kind of on that path where they're gonna, hopefully have some good progress leading up to next year. So hopefully they continue with that and do the right thing and reinstate men's and women's programs. Obviously, super rich history at Robert Morris. Some fantastic games against Mercyhurst, and they were a really good program. And I just hope for the whole sake of college hockey that they're reinstated.
Awesome. Thanks, Goots.
Yeah.
So obviously coming into Youngstown, what were your impressions of the Youngstown Phantoms coming into your job interview?
Yeah. So I feel like I have a lot of connections to Youngstown. I was laughing with my dad the other week, just talking about, the whole interview process and everything. And we were just reminiscing. I think it was 2006. Him and I jumped in the car in Erie and drove down and watched the Mahoning Valley Phantoms in the North American League. And they were playing the development team. So it was, I was really young, my first impression of Youngstown. And then I was fortunate to play with, a couple kids that ended up in Youngstown as well. So just kind of seeing, the way they develop players, not only to the next level, but professional, is outstanding. And their tradition of a winning culture has been great. And super honored to just kind of put my name and my fingerprints on the historic organization that is Youngstown. So it's really exciting for me, and obviously being close to home is another added bonus. But it's gone back a while. I remember coming down to Youngstown in 2018 to watch a game when you guys were in the Clark Cup playoffs. I think you guys were playing Dubuque first round, maybe.
Yep.
So yeah, it was awesome and exciting to kind of see the Covelli Center like that, and hopefully we can get back there and make another historic push.
So looking forward to this upcoming season. I can't believe training camp gets underway in 2 weeks, Goots.
Yeah.
How is this year's club going to look different from last year's club?
Yeah. Watching, just some past games of Youngstown and following them last year. I think for us, it's going to be a remodel, and we want to, restyle our game. And like I said, we want to be a puck possession game. Ryan and Jason are doing a great job with, making some pretty good trades and adding some pieces that will fit into our style of play. So I think it'll be a little bit different for obviously our fans to kind of see, the difference between last year's team and this year's team. I think it's going to be really exciting. I think it's going to be a very modern style of play and really high pace and exciting to watch.
So now, super important question here.
Yeah.
As you were reviewing the film, what do you think of the broadcast? How was the play-by-play guy doing?
Very, very good. Very good. Yeah, very good. I like the broadcaster.
All right. We're scoring points here already.
Yeah.
Well, so Phantom fans, that's going to wrap up this episode of Ghost Stories. I want to thank assistant coach Brandon Gotkin for joining us here on the show. Brandon, 5 weeks from the day that this podcast is getting viewed by everybody, we're going to be playing Lincoln, and I don't know about you, but I can't wait.
I can't wait. I wish we were dropping the puck tonight. I'm really looking forward to being down in Youngstown and get to know the good people of Youngstown and get to work. Really excited.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thank you again for joining us on the show, my man.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
Thank you to our friends over at Dunkin for sponsoring the show. I think we're just maybe going to have one more episode. We'll see if we can get Phantoms head coach Brad Patterson on to share his thoughts, wrap up last season, and look ahead toward the upcoming 2021-2022 season. For Brandon, I'm Matt Lipsack, the voice of your Youngstown Phantoms. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sound out. Fade to black.